It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigarbox Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigarbox Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CBGITTY. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
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 It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigarbox Nation TV.
Don't even have. Hey, look at that! We now have audio.
Sweet. Well, welcome back to the Gitty Gang Show. It's Friday. What do we got here? November 8th, this year, 2019. Got the Juke Shack. Got Nick manning this entire show. I'm just sitting here participating in some minor way, but Nick has put together an outstanding show all week long. He's been working on putting a show here in Ben's absence. Ben is where, sir?
He's out in Ohio. He was out in the rails last time I heard.
Nice.
He went home to recharge himself. You know, I think he said before he left, he's like, some people go to the beach and unrelax, to rewind, and maybe go out to the woods. I go on the rails. So we hope Ben's having some quality time to himself and his family out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like your style. That's awesome. So yes, welcome back to the Gitty Gang Show. I'm glad to see that Shane's out there. He's doing his thing, the king of the cigar box guitar. I don't know if you've been checking out the amazing stuff that he's been posting on the Nation, whether it be the Facebook page or on cigarboxnation.com or his own mailing lists, which you should check out. He's got his own newsletters that he sends out. Speaking of newsletters, awesome hat, by the way. Speaking of newsletters, hopefully you received the CB Gitty Crafter Supply newsletter this week, because in it you will have noticed that currently we have a sale going on through Monday. Here it is. Ba-bing. It's cigar box guitar parts. Our most popular cigar box guitar parts are all 20% off with the coupon code CBG19. That's CBG19, all one word, no spaces, nothing funky like that. And it's you can see there at cbgitty.com/cigar-box guitar parts or CBG parts. But again, our most popular cigar box guitar parts are 20% off through Monday if you use the coupon code CBG19 at checkout. Now, like I was saying, Nick has been working on all week an amazing episode here, this episode of the Gitty Gang Show, which I believe is 112.
112,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I tip my hat to Mr. Ben Giddy Baker for making it last this long and being as successful as it is, and that is also due in no small part to the man who runs that computer and who has, again, put together this entire episode, Nick Lanciano, there in the hat with the that beautiful soundproof design behind him. I see that we're both also sporting our respective Gitty Gangster t-shirts. So welcome all to you Gitty Gangsters. I hope someone out there is sporting their funky tees, because it's really, I don't know, I kind of like this one. It makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
We have a shout out from Manitoba Hal from last week.
Nice.
He's got a new album out, Glenn.
I did not know this.
Yes,
Tell me
and
more.
He has extended. He's Vintage Blend, I think is the name of it. And he's used his G bass on it, as well as his Darren Brown license plate guitar.
Nice.
And for all of you out there, he's done a coupon code, CBGITTYPAL. I'll post a link here in a minute. But it's, here, we got that. But you get 25% off his newest CD. We'll put that out here.
That's rad. So I'm sorry, I did not know that, Hal. So Manitoba Hal up in Canada, an amazing, or I keep using the word, an incredibly talented performer that we've had the great, we've been blessed to be able to be in a community with. I did not know this. He has a new album. Again, it's called, I'm sorry?
Vintage Blend.
Vintage Blend. All right, and he's got a coupon code CBGITTYPAL. Is that what I heard? I'm sure you're posting it.
I've posted it. Sorry, the echoes from the other mics are picking me up, and this mic is picking me up.
Ah.
So I mean, I don't know
We're going to do our best.
We're going to do our best.
We're gonna do our best.
Maybe I don't talk so loud.
No, this is
Who
perfect.
knows?
It's going to be perfect. Looks like we got out there today, and today only, we got Matthew Simpson, Magic Daddy. It's good to see you. J-Dub, Janice Wilson Hughes. We got a little video from her, so stick around for that. I think I saw Michael Copado out there. Speaking of Michael Copado, also have a video from that fine young gentleman explaining some really cool stuff that I think is helpful to everyone. Nick has mentioned Darren Brown, a Canadian builder. We have a little tidbit about him later on as well. We also have, let's see, Rusty Taylor. Come on, man. It's good to see you, brother, down there in Georgia. Hotlanta. He's not really Hotlanta, but close enough. Rob Roble, going even further south into the swamplands of Florida. Who else you got out there? Roll Tide, Jim Burt, Slim Jim, Philip Taylor, Nancy Leanne Hansen. Like I said, Shanesfield, Dutch Wigman, who is a fine young gentleman who keeps in touch with us out there in the Ozarks. A wonderful man who has a lot of positive things to say, and another great, sometimes quiet, but great member of the Cigar Box guitar community. And I see that on...
Is he watching us live?
It looks like he is.
Awesome, Dutch. Good to see you, buddy.
I see Henry Loman's out there. I don't know if you all haven't seen Henry Loman play something before yet. Hopefully you're going to see it today, right? Do we have something from Henry?
Do we have a Loman video?
We may. I hope so. But in any event, if you haven't, you should check him out on either the Cigar Box Nation or on his YouTube channel as well. Now, speaking of YouTube, we've got Bruce Norton out on YouTube. Good to see you, Bruce. Thank you for joining us. Plus Mike Adams, Sandrine Robe from France, John Crane, Jeremy Shaw. Thank you very much to everyone. So I think it's really rad that you're going to be here again. We have a sale. I'm gonna stop with this talk so we can get on to fun stuff. But we do have a sale running through the Monday. And it's 20% off our most popular parts, CBG parts, whether they be necks, fret wire, tuners, pickups, you name it. The most popular things that you most often buy are now 20% off through Monday with the coupon code CBG19. You put that in at checkout, it'll give you your 20% off, and that is cbgitty.com/CBG parts.
Also to note, going through some stock, Ben has found some of the old style Rail Runner Pizzos bridges. Right. He's converted them all into the built-in Pizzo bridges. I think oak and some wedge.
Okay.
So older style, I believe, if I remember correctly, it is on that site, so you should be able to find those, and on a lower price for being clearance. And I think the coupon code works for them.
Nice, even better.
So again, yeah, as he was saying, CBG19.
Love it, love it.
So Glenn, why don't we go to a first video? What do you think?
I love that idea because I know who it is and I'm digging it.
This one was sent in by Michael Copado. Got some interesting tidbits. So without further ado, why don't we usher in and give Mike some spotlight here, and we'll see you. It's a bit of a long one, so I'll be in the comments with you. But here we go.
Hey Gitty Gang, it's Michael Copado. I wanted to talk to you about something that I've been doing with some of my guitars lately. You know, this is sort of one of those hobbies that's a lot like Lay's potato chips where you can't eat just one. You don't stop at just one, you keep building. And if you're like me, you know, you watch every Del Puckett or Shane Spiel video. You read every email, you look at the tips on Cigar Box Nation, and you start incorporating each of these little tips and tricks into your builds, and your builds get better and better and more sophisticated. And then what might happen, or often happens, is that those first initial builds sort of fall through the cracks. They become wall hangings. So what I decided to do this last few months was to go over like the first 10 guitars I made and apply the techniques I'm doing to guitar 50 or 60 now on them, and improving them and making them more playable. And in the case of a couple of them that I didn't think would be, they became sellable. A couple of them, probably like guitar 9 and 10 that I went back and revisited, when I added some of those improvements, the guitars were great and people bought them. You know, some of the things like Del Puckett talked about in his video of adding a back angle to the neck so the neck slopes down and you get a lower action. I mean, that's a very good tip, important way to make guitars really playable. So I went through several of the guitars, and there's one guitar that I saved to the end that kind of stuck out. Some of you may be familiar with it. It was one that was a CB Gitty feature in their email newsletter a couple of years ago. It's also one that I did with a 3-part YouTube video where I showed the different techniques I utilized in it. It's the guitar that I set out to make look like a 150-year-old barn find. Something that great-great-grandpa made to strum on his porch that ended up in Grandpa's barn, and somebody found it and did like a Shane Spiel guitarcheology thing and rescued it and restrung it and made it playable. The only trouble with that guitar was I've grown a lot both as a builder and a player. When I started out, it was a high action fretless guitar to play slide. Well, I no longer play slide. I do play fretted guitar. And at the time I didn't make fretted guitars, and now I'm totally comfortable with putting fretboards on and doing fret jobs. So this one gathered dust. It was a special guitar. Like the video showed, I used some really interesting techniques to give it that aged look. I used a combination of steel wool soaked in vinegar to give it that barnwoody rust ebonizer effect. Over that I did a layer of gray paint which I wiped away, and then I did brown and black washes on top of it, so the wood has just this barnwood, for lack of a better term, character. And I aged or relic the cheap Chinese tuners with vinegar. I put the tuners in a little container inside a Tupperware container where I poured about 1 inch of vinegar in surrounding it, sealed it up overnight, and it gave the tuners an aged look. I tried it with the Gitty tuners, but even the economy tuners are too well made to try to ruin that way. And the final technique that people were excited about was the one I stole from railroaders, model railroading, to recreate rust on things by using a combination of wet paint, dried spices like cinnamon and chili powder and nutmeg, different shades of red and brown, salt and black paint. So it was an exciting guitar to do, but like I said, I wasn't playing it anymore. So it was the last project, and I wanted to show it to you. And it also kind of brings up a little bit of advice that I have that was brought up in a forum post on the Friends Facebook page, Friends of Gitty page, a few weeks back, where somebody had a grounding issue with his guitar he made. And we all suggested he go into the guitar and add a ground. And he said he couldn't because he glued the box shut. And that was something that it came up in this build, not that I glued the box shut, but I had actually glued the neck inside the box to the box, and that posed a problem when I wanted to replace the neck with a neck that I could fret. And as you can see, this is the old neck, and I had to pretty much saw away what I could, and then I had to chisel out and sand out the leftover rest of the neck that was inside the box. And this is the final result of the guitar. I had to replace the neck because the original one I couldn't really put a fretboard on, so I did a new neck with a piece of pallet wood, and I did the same painting techniques, and I added the new fretboard. But one of the things I want to point out is I no longer, and I haven't in like 30 builds, no longer glue my necks in. I always use a couple of screws with a couple of those little screw covers to make it look better. And it's really the same for most of my guitars in the front. This one actually I kept the hinge and the latch, but normally I screw in the top at 4 corners with more of those decorated covers so you can get into the guitar and make changes, which in this case I did. I did the new neck, I did a new fretboard. I also added one of my hand-wound pickups, one of the flat bucker, pancake bucker style that I wound, replacing an old single coil in it. And I also added a bridge rod piezo, where there was actually a disc piezo under it. So I thought I'd share it with you and add that piece of advice of go back on those guitars. use what you've learned to make those playable again. And the biggest piece of advice, really, and I'm sure there's a double entendre in this someplace, don't glue when you can screw.
Michael, thank you very much for that video. That was fantastic, showing how you can relic your CBG.
Yeah, man.
I
That's
used
cool.
to work at a music store for a little while, and I wanted to relic my Strat, but I loved the way it looked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that to that. Now you can do it to Cigar Box guitars without having to worry about it, because he built it that way.
That's a great point, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Well, it's a little different when you're spending like $200-$300 on like a factory-made guitar,
Right.
and then building a guitar for like $30, $40 that you know you can just do whatever you want to it. Hell, you can drag it across back behind your truck one weekend and get some real dings in there. But I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I really enjoy it. I remember when Michael originally shared those photos with us a long while back, that relicing process. Forgive me if I don't remember exactly. I know that Michael posted a link to a video in which he shares more information about it, but I think it was like cinnamon and chili powder painted on there. I believe he used vinegar for certain, to apply like that kind of patina to like the tuners. Which I really enjoy. I was just telling Nick off air that like I'm not somebody who's going to go through that effort, but I am such a strong admirer of people who do, and I just think it's really cool that people so freely share this kind of stuff with one another. In addition to that, Michael also shared some really good tips about, or just some ideas that perhaps not gluing things into place is a good idea. Perhaps just screwing is a good idea, because it's oftentimes, and what is part of what's so neat about these cigar box guitars or handmade musical instruments is the ability to take them back apart or to make modifications along the way as one's playing style progresses or evolves, or as one gets more knowledge or gets better at building in general. Just having that ability to go back to builds and repurpose them, redo them, remake them, however it is for your personal taste. I'm a kind of a knucklehead. I'm a big knucklehead because I don't keep anything. I don't have any originals. I don't have any more cigar box guitars that I've built. I'll usually dismantle them, keep the parts if I haven't gifted the guitar. So especially for those people who are smart enough to hold on to their stuff, I think that's a really good idea, is to not glue stuff shut if you can help it.
Well, I think another approach you can do too is if you're doing, especially like electric cigar box guitars, like Rob Roble does this a lot. He'll do an access panel in the back, or make sure you can get to every part of the electronics.
Yep.
Because the neck itself, I mean, yeah, it'd be great to be able to go back in there, but if you're not doing that kind of build, being able to get to your electronics in case something goes wrong, because over time solder joints can get dusty and staticky, and being able to clean and swap out parts and all that is a very, very good idea.
Very good idea.
But yeah, anything you can do to it is fantastic.
I saw that J.J. Clark joined us out there also, and so did Jim Morris back for banjos. We got a video coming up from the original, I like to call him the original, because we got the term from him, the original Gitty Gangster. I believe there's a video coming up from Del Puckett, which I'm amped about, because this guy is the man.
I believe that's a good segue, because why don't we give some screen time to Del. Del, thanks, buddy. And here we go.
Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Del Puckett here with a song for you. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine, and he always had somebody to rhyme, singing joy to the
here is an undercrown that I made a long time ago. This is number 50. And I'm still using CBGITTY parts. Talk to you guys later.
I just turned the volume down.
I really dig that video so much. Like, I love the downstroke with the muted strings.
Yeah.
Just a bass pedal throughout the whole thing. Had my foot thumping. So thank you very much, Del.
Yeah, the man is a talented player. He
I
really
always
is.
love seeing new videos from Del.
Yeah.
Like, he sends me in through a Dropbox. I'm like, oh, I gotta download that now.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Talented dude.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe if we're not already, if you're watching this and you haven't already, if you're a YouTube user and you subscribe to channels, like a lot of us do, if you haven't subscribed to Del Puckett's YouTube channel, would you please consider it? The man is just good. He puts out content nearly daily, and it's all good. It's not just some. It's not random nonsense. He's putting out really good stuff. Not just like awesome, performance videos like that, but really helpful building tips and ideas and just creative angles with which to take in your own workshop. Really love seeing from Del, and like Nick said, it's always a pleasure to get videos from him, and in part because he's such a positive dude. And I think that jibes well with what we do here in the cigar box guitar community in general. There's a reason why so many people are drawn to Del, myself included. There's a reason why, not that I want to use this metric to prove my point, but his subscriber count has skyrocketed on YouTube because he is somebody that people want to engage with, that people want to consume what it is that he creates. And if you're I hope that you're subscribed to Shane Spiel. I hope you're subscribed to Del Puckett. I mean, these are two pillars of the cigar box guitar community, and both are worthy of your time if you have it on the tubes.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now, what else? Now, I haven't been paying attention to comments because I'm not that smart. But who else? Did Del just vote for Screws? Janice Wilson Hughes is out there. Who am I missing? Bill Nolan's good to see you, sir. Kirk Otto, nice stuff. Adam Jellison, good to see you. William Sneed. Do we have more stuff lined up? I know you got a whole bunch of stuff lined up.
I got some stuff.
Nice.
I've got one that I don't think I've played on the show before. I've got a performance video coming up because it was easier to pre-record it. I'm not entirely happy with the way this one came out. Like, I've never played it on a 3-string and sang it at the same time. But I decided that, don't worry about it too much. Put it out there because that's the part of the fun of it. So yes, there's some improvement, but I wanted to learn more on a CBG.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, here's me playing, actually on one of our Tupelo tenors.
Ooh.
I think that's a.
I haven't seen this video either, so I'm pretty excited.
I'm playing a little bit of Metallica.
What?
Yeah, because why not? So here we go. So close, no matter how far. Couldn't be much more from the heart. Forever trust in who you are, and nothing else matters. Never opened myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way. All these words I just don't say, and nothing else matters. Trust I see when I find in you. Every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view, and nothing else matters. Never cared for what they do. Never cared for what they know. So close, no matter how far. Couldn't be much more from my heart. Forever trusting in who we are. And nothing else matters. Never cared for what they do. Never care for what they know, and I know never opened myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way. All these words I just don't say. And nothing else matters. Trust I seek and I find in you. Every day for something new. Open mind or a different view. And nothing else matters. Never cared for what they say. Never cared for games they play. Never cared for what they do. Never care for what they know. And I know so close, no matter how far. Couldn't be much more from the heart. Forever trusting in who we are. No, nothing else matters. Thanks, guys. I saw a request out there for a tablature for that. That's actually just the chords, the acoustic chords I got off of a 6-string tab, I think off of guitar, whatever, online. There's plenty of them out there. It starts off in E minor, but if you can get all of the chords, you can play it on a CBG.
Nice.
And it's just a matter of playing around with it till it sounds good to you. I mean, I can send out the tablature, but it's really just chords.
Rock on, man.
Maybe I'll come up with a version of it, but I got that off of just a 6-string site. So
That's a great idea.
yeah. You always see like Americana, you see country, you see blues. Obviously, the cigar box guitar is good for that. We've seen metal before on cigar box guitars. I'd love to do more of it. It doesn't translate as well. A lot of metal is either power chords, does translate, or ridiculous scales and technical playing, which I don't have the skills or the stick-to-itiveness to play like that. Yeah. So, well, what do you think? What do you say we go hop into the next section here? It's 2:30. Halfway through the show. I think it's time for a little bit of Watt Corner.
Oh!
I don't have a...
All right.
I don't know the lick.
If we're prepared for this, I got stuff. Let's just go right into it. Ba-da-dum-ba-dum-da-da-da. So
Yeah.
sweet. Nice. Look at this. First.
I got Fix You in the corner here.
Okay. What are we looking at?
You're good.
Oh, is this pot? What's the next picture, Nick?
I will.
I don't recall putting this one in there.
No, that's from last.
Okay.
It's all good.
I'm like, surprise.
Surprise.
Let's check it out. So, by the way, yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who's got kind words to share, especially for Nick's performance, and that sentiment that we need Glenn to do Godzilla. Oh, Shaq. As Nick as an example, you'll see later on in the show as well with J-Dub, Janice Wilson Hughes, and there are other people out there as well. I know Clarky is on Cigar Box Nation, does a lot of play-along videos as well. It's as Nick said, it's not just the blues. Not that it has to be anything other than, but it can be something other than the blues. And while some genres of music are more difficult to translate onto a 3 or 4 string instrument, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. And if you spend enough time with it, just having fun and trying to check it out, you can make it work to sound good to your ear. So I'm really psyched that Nick is willing to push that envelope here on this stage with things like the Chris Stapleton cover. I don't remember actually who actually wrote the songs, but
Tennessee Whiskey.
Tennessee Whiskey. Gosh, who was that? Was that David Allan Coe? Who helped me? Some of y'all.
Tennessee Whiskey, maybe? Yeah.
But Tennessee Whiskey, so like that more of a country folk Americana-ish type song. Nothing Else Matters. We've seen the Cranberries played by Janice Wilson Hughes. Again, Clarkey on Cigar Box Nation. They're just, and Dell's played a sweet, pop rock song from way back in the day. Like that kind of stuff can still be played and enjoyed by not just the player, but by the audience on Cigar Box guitar. So I'm just psyched that people are willing to take that step and to try new things.
It was originally David Allan Coe, I believe. It was written by Dean Dillon and Linda Hargrave. So that was one of those,
Okay.
or Hargrove, excuse me. But anyway.
Did not know that. Thank you. No, I seriously appreciate that. So yeah, Watt Corner, look at this. First up, we got Dirty Dan. Dirty Dan, the reason I wanted to show this is not just because it's a great looking guitar that's loaded with CBGITTY parts, but because I love seeing photos of community members that I don't see elsewhere online. So I'm not in every Cigar Box guitar community or group on Facebook. I'm pretty focused on the Friends of Gitty group, and I do see a lot on Cigar Box Nation as well. And I don't see Dirty Dan elsewhere. So when he submits, and I think it's been more than a couple times now, when he has submitted photos to the CBGITTY website so that we can post them there, I was psyched to see this one, because I love seeing, like, hey man, this is one of you folk. This is just another one of you, and I want you to be able to see them, because I enjoy seeing the faces, even when they are intently focused on playing. And not looking directly at the camera and smiling all the time. Just that very candid type situation, and when one is intensely enjoying their instrument. So thank you very much, Dirty Dan. If you're ever out there and you happen to see this, I'm psyched to see you out there in the community. So now next up, we've got from Brandon J. Speaking of taking a little bit from Michael's video and just trying different things, Brandon J, if you can see here, thank you, Nick. That's awesome. That sound hole is actually a circular piece underneath the sound hole that he can twist so that it opens up. And Brandon J admits, he's like, it didn't really have a huge effect acoustically on this instrument. It's just something that I wanted to try. And that's part of what's so cool about our instruments. When Nick was talking about relicking, a cigar box guitar as opposed to a store-bought conventional 6-string, which you've invested all this money in. So rather than, take chances on something like that, when you can do it on something that you're creating with your own hands and ideally at a lesser amount than a conventional guitar. I really enjoy that about Brandon's things like, I don't care that it doesn't produce a ton of sound. It was fun to try and it looks cool. And I agree, it does look cool, Brandon. Now, I'm not sure if that knob next to the sound hole is what twists that underlayment to make it open and close. I'm not sure. I mean, that could just be the volume knob for the pickup. He didn't say. But I just really think it's a cool idea. And that we're all willing to share that with one another. Be like, hey man, it didn't do a lot, but this is what it did for me, and maybe you'll want to try it too, maybe you don't, but here it is. I really like that sort of transparency, that sort of authenticity that we have with one another. So that's really good stuff, Brandon. Next up, we got from Randy H. Again, speaking of trying things, Randy H., one of our Texas friends who is up. We actually got to meet him, I think, last year about this time. He is building himself a little red, a radio flyer. One of those, come on, I know they still make them and they sell them at ridiculous prices, but those original old radio flyers are just the jam. And I think this may be one of those original old ones. Due in part, possibly because he's down in Texas and things don't rust like they do up here in the Northeast with all the salt and whatnot in the air. But I love the fact that he's building an upright bass with it. It reminds me of the upright bass that we've now shared a couple times. Rufus P of Cigar Box Nation has posted his wheelbarrow bass. We've shared that a couple times here on the Gitty Gang Show. And when Randy posted this in the Friends of Gitty Facebook group, I just had to, and it was on his own page and probably elsewhere as well, but I saw it in Friends of Gitty Facebook group, and I had to share it here because it's a work in progress. I'm stoked to see more progress pics of this instrument, and I love the fact it's to me it's kind of like a piece of wheelable luggage. You can just bring that with you anywhere. I don't know. It's just cool stuff. I love cool people doing cool things, and this is a fine example of that. So I'm hoping, Randy, if you're out there, we get more progress pics on this one. Next up, speaking of cool things, Andrew L. shared this. Now you can be like, I don't see much in this photo, Glenn, and especially because I'm on my mobile device. The picture's so small. Don't you worry, because I'm gonna explain a little bit further. This thing is really rad. It's like a lap steel. It's like a lap steel guitar, but it's a pedal steel guitar. So those things that look like tremolo arms, like whammy bars, those are palm pedals on this four-string steel guitar that has a built-in amplifier in it. I'm loving this thing. Now, in the next photo, you'll see more of a close-up image of said palm pedals. I know!
Is that a coin on the top?
A what?
That's a coin on the top of it.
Coin on the top? I can't tell. Oh, okay, yeah. So check this out. This is what Andrew writes. This is a four-string palm pedal guitar with a built-in amp. One pedal is connected to one of the four strings, and the other pedal is connected to another one of the four. Now, the guitar is tuned in an open major tuning. I think it's D, F sharp, A, D, so open D. And then when just one of those strings, palm pedals, is depressed, it changes the pitch to one of the strings to from A to B. Anyways, it takes when one of those are depressed, well, to a certain point, it takes that open D major chord and turns it into the relative minor. I'm not trying to get all fancy, but then to get this B minor chord. And if you depress them both, I think it produces the four chords. So it goes from G major to D major to G major. All good stuff. I just, I don't have a sound sample of it. I'm not sure how effective it has been, the results have been for Andrew L., but that he's willing to try it and just do something different. I'm sure it's been done before. It's not the point of being first to do it. It's doing it yourself. And then sharing the results with other people to inspire them or to help them or to educate them, inform them, entertain them, kind of like what we try to do here. I'm just really impressed with that palm pedal guitar. I think that's rad. It's only a four-string, even better. And part of what draws me so much to pedal guitars, or steel guitars, and pedal steel guitars, is over the past year of my life, I have been more and more interested in, become more and more enamored with country music, and the sound of pedal steel in what I consider to be good country music is just, it's so emotionally charged. It's haunting. It's beautiful. I don't know what this is. I don't know what the word is, but this is what it is for me. It's just, I love the sound of pedal steel, and that he's made a four-string palm pedal steel is just, that is good stuff. So thank you, Andrew L. I hope that you see this, because I'm really, I'm proud to be able to share your stuff on this show. Now, next up, speaking of, I had mentioned him earlier, Darren B., one of our, Darren Brown, up in Canada. He is a long-time, outstanding cigar box guitar builder. Now, you'll notice this is a six-string, so you may be like, that's not it's still a cigar box guitar. It's still handmade. And I want to share this in part because I don't know that I've had Darren's stuff on the show before. He's just an awesome builder, but also kind of keeping in along the line the theme, country music. Now he's got that telly style. So he bought a CBGITTY telly style bridge that you can see there, and it comes with a little six-string pickup. And that Telecaster style, that sound, that twang, it can be kind of shrill, but and if you hear like a lot of but it cuts through a band. You can hear it on top of things, kind of like you can hear a fiddle on top of things in a group of instruments. A Telecaster, that twang cuts through the noise of a bigger band, and I used to be, way back in the day, I don't want to bore you to death here, but way back in the day, I grew up on metal music. So speaking of actually Nothing Else Matters, which Nick just performed, Metallica, back in the day, they had this, one of their biggest albums was Injustice for All, and James Hetfield has, I've read interviews where he says he regrets how he recorded that album, which is to say, like the sound. If you're familiar with the album, the sound is huge. It's enormous. It's a dense guitar sound, and that's because he layered 12, 16, 20 guitars all on top of one another. Like, I guess low volume, but multiple tracks, but a couple dozen of the same tracks layered on top of one another, so it created this huge sound. And that's helped in part not only with all the buttons and knobs and doodads, but using humbucker pickups. You get big fat sounds that can create these big walls that are just push right through you. And I still do, used to love that growing up on metal. And over the past year or so, like I said, just becoming more enamored with country music, this twangy, slightly more shrill, but the sound of these Telecaster guitars, and in this case, this beautiful Telecaster style, Telly TM style guitar that Darren Brown has built, is just really, cool, and I love seeing that that kind of, because country to me still has that, you know, certain types of it have that still that folky, very Americana, rootsy vibe to them, and that Telecaster is just a modern day version of that folky American rootsy vibe. It's just that, you know, the progression of the style, and I'm really psyched that Darren chose to support us and use our parts and make something as cool as he did. So thank you very much, Darren. I hope to see more of you on the show later too. It's good stuff, brother. Next up, we're almost to the end. Thanks for bearing with me here. Next up, we got a Gitty Gangster Freth, who posts really a lot of cool stuff in the Friends of Gitty group, and we put him in the newsletter too, because he's got some good stuff. He's got a plain hobo fiddle box, right? This is what you can get for yourself. In the next picture, what you'll see, Freth shared these tips. He got some walnuts from out in the backyard, you know, cut into the husk, used the husk from the walnuts. I think he soaked them in water first, but then he rubbed them all over the box, and that is a natural wood stain. He took walnut husks, I think that he soaked in water, and he rubbed them all over the box. It produces this really deep yellow stain, free, out in the backyard. Don't buy a thing, non-toxic, go figure. Awesome. Mother Nature has a way of taking care of us. So naturally stained his box, and it's a really bright yellow now, but he had later, maybe a week or two later, he had informed us in the group that the stain does darken. It doesn't stay as bright as you see here. And in this last photo, you'll see a finished image of the hobo fiddle box that he created now. So you can see how the yellow darkens.
That's awesome.
I know! But then he darkens, you know, with other stain. He darkened the other parts of the box, and then he went in with, I don't know how, I'm sorry, but with like a paintbrush or maybe a marker pen or something, but darkened in certain parts of the train to really make everything pop, to make the whole image of the legend of the hobo fiddle box that he got from CBGITTY, Ben's creation. Freth took it and then made this, and I am impressed. And that he did it with, you know, homemade backyard DIY stain, and then went in even further and detailed it with his own time and care. He made a beautiful looking instrument.
You want to make sure Ben sees that one.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
I think so too. Yeah. And I think, do we got one more in here? I think we do. A couple more. I got Mulligan Stu Sue is next. Now, she shared this also in the Friends of Gitty group. Now, what do we got here? Love this one. Yes. So, I see you out there, Sue. Hopefully you dig this, because it's yours. Mulligan Stu Sue wrote, I like the Guinness Stout cans with the harp on them, and I thought it would be cool to put that image on a wooden box. So, there you see the can. So, I cut up and unrolled the can. And so then she took the unrolled can and tacked it down onto a black plastic portfolio folder, put this concoction on a copy machine that makes laser copies, and produced an image that she put on this box. She attached the copy to the box with photo mount adhesive, which works well because it doesn't pucker the paper like bottle glues do. And it looks pretty cool. That's what she says. I think it looks really cool. I just love that sort of these tricks and these tips that we're willing to share with one another. She likes the image on the Guinness can with the harp. She cut it open, unrolled it, put it on a laser copy printer, put out the image, found a proper adhesive that doesn't ruin the. I know some people Mod Podge and all this other stuff. Her technique on this one was a certain photo mount adhesive. If you want to know exactly what it is, she's out there right now. If you're watching this live, you can ask her, because I don't know. But I do know that this is rad, and I just love this sort of willingness to share and just be helpful to one another and inspire one another. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. That's what communities are made of, my man and women. So thank you, Sue. You're awesome. And last up, it's snowing outside here in New England. I'm looking past the camera. It's in the 30s. It's snowing. I don't think it's any appreciable amount that will accumulate, but it's blustery and blowing. So if you're not in the snow, good for you.
Oh, I see blue skies too. That's great.
Yeah. So long as we don't have to shovel it. Everything looks great until you shovel it, and then.
Welcome to New England. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry. Anyway, we got this last one. This looks pretty cool.
Hey, Walt Davis is out there on YouTube, by the way. Thank you very much for joining us, Walt. It's good to see you, brother. Another Texas brother. So thank you, Walt. Last up, we've got from Joe S. Joe writes, I built this guitar for my friend Mike, who's in law enforcement. The guitar honors Mike and all the men and women who stand watch on that thin blue line serving their community 24/7 here in Virginia Beach. So, Joe S. is from Virginia Beach. He's honoring his friend Mike and all of his compatriots in law enforcement. So, I'm not only impressed by the box and the body and the guitar itself. I mean, you can see the sound. He has handcrafted those wooden sound hole covers. And if you recognize the style, I recognize it. It could be something else, I don't know, but I recognize it as being that Ovation style sound hole cover. But Joe has gone and fashioned it by hand, which is just awesome. And then he's got that, of course, everyone notices the blue line, which signifies law enforcement. He's got the emblem, the Virginia Beach police emblem there, right front and center. And part of what speaks to me so much about this is that I'll never get tired of a few things to share here on the show. Stuff that relates to family, stuff that relates to educating and inspiring children, and things that honor, I don't care what country you're from, things that honor the people who put their lives on the line every day that serve the community, whether it be through military or law enforcement. That means a ton to me. And I hope it means something to you. I know that we're all human and that there are good people and bad people everywhere. But the great people that are in law enforcement, that leave the house every day, and their loved ones don't know if they're not coming back that night, because it's a distinct possibility, those people are underpaid individuals who go out and do what they do to serve us. And they're human too. They make mistakes just as much as you and I do. And but when we have the chance to honor them and to respect them, I really appreciate the people that take the time to do so. And Joe S., I don't know if you watch this show, but I'm glad and I'm grateful that you shared this with us so we can put it on the CBGITTY website, and it gave me the opportunity to talk about it here. So thank you very much, Joe. And I think that has been a Walk Corner. There it is. I like
Close
it.
enough. Close enough.
Close
What do you
enough.
think after how long trying to do it?
Yes.
So we got another video lined up for you. This next one comes in from Bruce Norton.
Bruce.
His buddy James G playing a Cohiba cigar box guitar. It's one of the most recent ones that Bruce has built. And he also responded on Friends of CBGITTY, I believe,
Yes.
right? With a couple of pictures of some builds, some really cool builds. I think one was a Route 66 build with that shield design. That was real cool.
Yes.
But this one is the Cohiba. Let me see.
Michael Wingate, CB's out there. You, sir, are the man.
And then we've got a couple of other videos to get through, because when Ben's not here, we like to show your stuff, which Ben does too.
Yes.
But I'm just going to show
More time to do it.
More time. Here we go. If I can get to the right.
Wheels at the bump, still gonna be the right now, scared of the good up, I'm on the work. Yeah, I'm on the work. Then I'm gonna be the right man, sure to be a circle jerk.
You're awesome.
So I had a little bit of mix-up because, you know, flubs are my thing when I'm mashing buttons. But that one was a cover of a Beatles song, and I Love Her by Vern. Thank you. Always love seeing a new video from him. He had me
awesome.
cracking up. Was it over the summer or over the Easter?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He came up with like one a week, and that was pretty. It was pretty.
He's
great.
rad. Yeah.
And then that one from Bruce. That was some slick playing.
Yeah.
Great looking guitar.
Love
So
it.
thanks again for the submissions.
Yeah.
There's a little rundown. Again, we have a sale going on right now. I know you're getting tired of hearing it, but you don't get tired of the deals that you get from Ben putting up these. Some 20% off some of our more popular parts.
Yes.
Over there on CBGitty. And you can see on there, it's a very easy link to remember, cbgitty.com/CBG parts with the coupon code CBG19.
Yeah.
You can save some decent money if you need some parts to kind of build up your stores. It's a good time to get them.
Yep. That's a great point, especially now with, I mean, for you folks that do your holiday building, whether you be building for grandkids or you're building to sell or whatever your jam is, like, now's the time, man. If you only have, I mean, I don't like beating the Christmas drum, you know, especially like in this kind of like, yeah, it's just because it gets to be so much after a while. But the Christmas drum is going to get beat, and it's only, what is it now, 6 weeks away. And so you only got so much time to build, man. But if you can stock up on parts now, especially the most popular ones that you know you're going to use anyways, now's the time. So again, like Nick was saying, cbgitty.com/CBG parts. Use the code CBG19 at checkout and get 20% off. Nice.
So we got a couple of other videos because you guys were so great about sending these in. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have any videos that you'd like to see on the Gitty Gang show, shoot me an email with any kind of file, share a link to support@cbgitty.com. Landscape is preferable, but it can be portrait as well. And anything between 2 and 3 minutes is great. You know, sometimes we make exceptions for longer videos, like in the case of Michael. But, you know, 2-3 minutes is a good time. So, again, send it to support@cbgitty.com. Like this next one that we have, we all love J-Dubs here.
Yeah.
She's got some incredible slides. You've heard us talk about them. Beautiful work. She sent us in some goodies in the past, so it's always great to see a new video from her.
Yeah.
So why don't we check this out? Just let me stall for a minute here while I get to the right video.
This is another fine example of someone playing the music they know and love, not just sticking to the peg hole of blues, but doing what she likes.
And a very supportive member of the community and very active.
Yes.
So we love seeing the videos here. So here we go.
I think I was wrong. I think you were right. All my angry words keep me up at night. guys for listening. Thank you so much for all of the support and kindness that you guys have shown to me. Sending out love to everyone out there. Bye, guys.
Wow.
Goosebumps.
I know.
That's amazing. Like, we were sitting here going, those high notes, though.
I know.
It was phenomenal.
Such good stuff. She writes about that for anybody who may have questions, and here are some other thoughts as well. Janice Wilson Hughes writes, I have to say a huge thank you to the CBG community for being so kind and supportive and encouraging to me. I love playing music so much, and it's a special thing to feel comfortable sharing with a group of people who get it and understand the magic of playing music on an instrument you built yourself. This week I decided to dig into learning a song I've loved since the first time I heard it. Playing songs that I really connect to is such a huge motivation for me to do the work of learning new chords and rhythms. This is good stuff here. Check it out. For anyone out there who feels frustrated or stuck in your playing at whatever experience level you're at, maybe a jump start for you would be to pick out a song that you love, one that moves you in some way, and try to learn it or just a little part of it. You can search for videos and music online and take one little bite at a time. Thank you all for thank all of you Gitty Gangsters. And in this video, she writes, she is playing her ceramic body guitar. I saw Louie asking about that out there, Louie LaManna. I'm playing my ceramic body guitar that I was talking about with Gitty Gangster William Lutz this past week in the Friends of Gitty Facebook group. The song that she played is called The Difficult Kind by Sherly Crow. It's good stuff. Love seeing her on the show. So thank you very much, J-Dub. I'm really happy that you were here. So good stuff.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we had a couple of other videos, but we'll save them for next week perhaps. Because unfortunately, we're here at the end of our show.
Is it time?
It is time. An hour goes by so quickly.
Ooh.
And again, we want to thank you very much for joining us for today's show.
Yes.
Glenn, you have some announcements?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We do have this weekend, so tomorrow. Tomorrow, for those of you in the Michigan area, the CBG-minded Michiganders are gathering for their monthly meeting in Petoskey, Michigan, which I believe is Red Sky Stage. The CBG-minded Michiganders gathering tomorrow in Petoskey, Michigan. We also have in Lenexa, Kansas, AJ Gaither, the one-man band of the century. AJ Gaither is playing in Lenexa, Kansas. If you are anywhere near Lenexa tomorrow, please go check out AJ. If you're looking for more info on either of those things, by the way, the CBG-minded Michiganders meeting, you can find that on Cigar Box Nation or on Facebook. You can find AJ Gaither's show on Facebook. That's AJ Gaither, Gaither. And then we also have, of course, the king of the cigar box guitar, Shane Spiel, and his Snake Oil Band are performing tomorrow in Hanover, Pennsylvania. And man, you have to know that's worth the drive. So come on, I don't know if it's West Virginia, if you're over in Maryland, Delaware, New York State, wherever you are, get down in there to Hanover. That's an awesome show. So awesome. Thank you very much for joining us for the Gitty Gang show this week.
And I'm happy to say the snow has stopped, which means we're going to have a great weekend up here.
Nice. It's the Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CBGITTY. Nick for putting on such an awesome show. So if you're out there still and I'm just hanging out on G, probably should have gone to C, but I'm still on G. If you're out there and you're still got a like button on your hand, there we go. Just give Nick a tip of the hat, man. This guy has put together an awesome show yet again. So we wouldn't have happened without him. So thank you very much, Nick. It's the Gitty Gang show. It's the Gitty Gang show. Gitty Gang show. It's the Gitty Gang show. Gitty Gang show. It's the Gitty Gang show. Gitty Gang show. Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Have a safe and happy weekend. I'm not in the comments to wish you that, but we appreciate every one of you so much. So thank you very much for joining us. Glenn, it's been a pleasure to do this show with you. And Ben, if you do catch this, relax and have a good time out there. And we'll see you when you get back. So you all have a great weekend. Signing off.